swing. That's so true when you actually put in the numbers like that. But again, that even goes to show you just the skill of complexity and how the composure really, how they can almost throw a game like that. Just be like, nah, we still got this, and sure enough, they did. So again, undefeated all throughout the group stages. Here we are, game one. It looks like has officially started, guys. Complexity taking on QsQ357. Let's go ahead and jump into game number one. Complexity on the Legion side. We got Q Squad on the Hellborn side. Again, I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Mallet, in that interview, he did sound confident, and he's also bringing out the point that, very likely could see some, perhaps some interesting strategies here, whether it's heroes or just overall type of strategy. So really, really looking forward to that, especially. But no doubt Complexity the favorite. So here we go, kicking it off. We got the blind bands taking place. We have Jerizai and Amphora taken care of by Complexity. Tundra and Ophelia taken care of by QsQ357. So the Cheese taken care of by Complexity. You got Tundra and Ophelia, two very powerful tier heroes by QsQ. So nothing crazy so far. Cthulhu Font the first lock. Gauntlet Fade to follow. Bubbles Play grounded by Complexity. And then Aluna, the final lock. So other than Gauntlet, nothing too crazy.
I think, honestly, B-Kid's going to be blind banning Jerizai and Amphora every single game. That is the epitome of cheese. Those are the heroes that really tick them off. I don't blame them. Those are the heroes that tick me off, especially Amphora. I mean, Jerizai is annoying, but I hate playing against Amphora. It's so difficult against a very, very good team and a team that has a good early game because it just forces you to kind of play passively in the entire game. The ball is in the court of the Amphora player. But anyway, I won't talk about that too much. Blind Band with Tundra and Ophelia, very, very standard from Q Squad. You went over the locks, quite standard except for the Gauntlet and Cthulhu Font, especially Cthulhu Font coming out from Complexity. They don't normally like to run that. But very interesting right there. Now we have gone into the banding phase. Meraxis, Demented Shaman, Draconis, and now Pebbles coming out from Q Squad.
Yeah, so, looking at this phase, as you said, all through at the blind bands, all the way into the regular bands, nothing too stand out other than that Cthulhu Font. It's really, as you put it, Complexity, maybe not known for running a Cthulhu Font, but we have seen him successful in a couple of matchups. Of course, Bryce from Vitriolic definitely stands out. And then Uncle Chicken, actually, when he played for Co-op, he also played it fairly well, and that was pretty entertaining. So, yeah, we'll see, with it being the first lock, whether or not Complexity decides to pick it up here in their regular picking phase. But Parasite, the last lock, or the last ban, for Complexity. And now we have the final ban coming out for QsQ357. And sure enough, it is going to be Tempest. So a lot of heroes taken out, as it usually is the case. But you still got your Silhouette, your Mage Bane, your Dark Liddy. The only carry that wasn't banned, or that was banned out of those four that we like to considers Draconis. So the other three definitely left open as being very powerful options here for both teams. But Fade is locked, so obviously that's where you have to keep in consideration of Magebane.
Yeah.
Whether or not that is a strong pick here, so we'll see.
I like that lock of Fade, actually, to be honest. It doesn't seem like Fade is very first pick out of the lock pool phase material. Like, it's not like, okay, we got Fade in that pool, we're going to first pick it. Like, we got a Luna in there. Like, that would seem like lock, or even Bubbles. That would seem like first pick material to me out of the lock pool. So that kind of just hinders you from picking that Mage Bane. You just sit back, you're like, well, we can't really pick Mage Bane because they could very potentially pick Fade. But not even necessarily a counter against Mage Bane himself, just Fade is a good hero in that own regard. Now, Silhouette Keeper. A very, very early keeper. That's something I normally don't like because it sets the tone for how your lanes are going to be. So right now, Complexity could easily man up and do something very aggressive in the top lane because Keeper of the Forest, you can't run bottom. You cannot run two heroes bottom because you'll just get decimated. Also, right now, that puts a very, very strong emphasis on Bubbles from the lock pool because Q Squad's going to really need a strong suicide hero. Right now, the two that can really look at are Pharaoh and Bubbles in that lock pool. So I would not be surprised in the slightest to see Complexity first pick Bubbles out of that lock pool.
Yeah, that's very, very good points to make up here. So we'll see. We'll see how that ultimately plays out. Now, don't forget, we have actually seen a Keeper of the Force lane before. There was that one game earlier on in this DreamHoN Summer Championship. So we can't put that off the table 100%. And we were told by Male that expect something pretty crazy. So you never know. But yeah, that Keeper of the Force pickup, you're definitely right. That's usually not the ideal pickup, at least earlier on in the picking stage. But sure enough, they go up. But look at those follow-ups by Complexity. War Beast and then Mage Bane on top of that. So, man, those are some strong picks right there. A couple of carry heroes even picked up there for Complexity. Wretched to finish off for QsQ. So they do got a suicide hero in that sense, just in case if Complexity picks up Bubbles here. But
Yeah, that was really smart picks. I'm actually a little bit questioning the Fade pickup, but they just don't want to get countered by Fade from Magebane. Now the Warbeast Magebane is really ingenious. It's really smart because you're playing against a passive jungler and keep the forest. Magebane Glacius can win that bottom lane against pretty much anything. Now, the way that they laned it, or they picked their heroes, though, they gave them a Luna. I don't.
Yeah.
Like giving them either a Luna or Bubbles, or keeping. They did not take Bubbles first, but they gave them a Luna. That's the other thing is that now actually QsQ does have the ability to go bottom lane because Warbeast was picked. So when at first I liked Complexity what they were doing, but I don't know. Now I'm curious. But their lanes are super obvious as they always are. That's one of the things that. I mean, they're such a great team, but that's the one little fallback with them is their lanes are very obvious. It can be Fade mid, Bubbles top, Magebane bottom with Glacius, and then Warbeast bottom, and the jungler. Now, because Warbeast cannot do anything to help that lane, you can expect a very aggressive lane bottom with maybe a Luna Gauntlet. I think that's what they should do, and hopefully maybe Hag top, and actually they're remaking the game. So,
well, apparently. SQY there, he got a bug where he wasn't able to swap his hero, so he was playing Wretched Hag, and they wanted to swap it around, but obviously, or according to him at least, wasn't able to. So we'll go ahead and do a remake here real quickly. I'm sure it shouldn't take too long for the teams to take care of that, but so we'll see how the laning phase starts. Definitely some interesting picks, though, to finish that off, and the other thing was, well, I guess there was actually Plague Rider also in the lock pool, so I was going to say, if Complexity even took a Luna with that first pick, that they could have, really screwed over QsQ as far as their support hero goes. But Plague Rider can definitely play it at least somewhat fairly well compared to other support heroes. So, but anyway, so we'll see what ultimately happens once we, of course, get back into the game here. Looks like they are now remaking, so gonna go ahead and join on up, and hopefully they made it all pick, because that'd be silly to go through all the bans and everything once again. But looks like they did. So. Yeah, taking a quick seat and want to make sure that you invite Peabody. There you go. Shout out to Peabody, by the way. He's actually casting on behalf of.
It's Privyet.
What is that?
That's like shout out or what's up.
Ah, gotcha.
Privyet.
You got your Russian? You take Russian or something?
I know like a few phrases.
Oh,
Как дела?
the fun stuff.
And then хорошо. А тебя? Спасибо.
I'm sure Peabody would be proud. No, but he's here on behalf of Garena, the CIS region, which, of course, the Russian region over there, casting for them. So he's casting a Russian on his own stream. I believe it's even on Twitch. So if you do happen to know Russian, want to watch some, he is actually pretty entertaining. Although I don't have any clue what he's saying. Of course, no, he gets pretty hyped up. I was listening to him a little bit for the DreamHoN or the DreamHack qualifiers previous to the other one. So yeah. Good guy. Glad to have him here. Again, on behalf of CIS, apparently he's going to be casting all throughout the quarterfinals for them. So, best of luck to him. Malay's joining though here, and so once he sits down, I believe we'll be good to go. And making this happen. And whenever we have a remake like this, going into the all pick mode, I always go back to the launch party. Actually, it was over 2 years now, where I think it was Sebuska playing for We Heart Pigs at the time. It was We Heart Pigs versus 5 at the launch party. It was the finals of some big tournament, and they remade, and it was taking forever, and he accidentally picked a different hero than he was supposed to, so he had to remake again, and it was chaotic. But anyways, I believe everyone picked it well this time, so.
Memories. I would not be surprised also if Complexity picked Magebane because of that new skin, which is freaking awesome, by the way.
You like it?
It makes lightsaber sounds when you're attacking. It's so cool.
Haxerin said he watched Star Wars last night to prepare to play Magebane today. I look forward. I haven't seen it yet, so it's one of those heroes we can watch for the sound, as weird as that is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. I'll see how they run it. But apparently, right off the bat, you're not too happy about something.
Well, I'm looking at Hag's items, and that just screams suicide items because she's walking down here with these two. And I'm probably going to see maybe a Luna Gauntlet mid. Suicide Hag against this is just it's
you talked about that.
awful.
Why do teams not go up against the Magebane Trial and Complexity? They just refuse to. It seems
I don't know, but that's all that's going to tell me is Magebane's going to get complete free farm. Glacius is going to get free levels. And Warbeast is going to get complete free farm. Also, Bubbles against the Silhouette. Yes, Silhouette. Okay, Silhouette should crush Bubbles in that regard. But it would be so easy if you just did Hag mid and had this lane bottom, like this Gauntlet, a Luna lane bottom. I hope they switch it up. I hope they don't let this Magebane get complete free farm. I don't know. Maybe their idea is just to be aggressive and get Gauntlet an early or a good lane early and have him get some farm. But Gauntlet takes a lot of farm. Like, you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just get a free fast portal key and then do stuff. You got to get some other core items on him as well, like upgraded boots, maybe a power supply. Again, I like going the tanky route, whereas you get a Help in the Black Legion before Blink. That might not be necessary this game, or really the best thing to do. But yeah, Hag here bottom. Glacius is just going to completely own him. As soon as he doesn't have any skills leveled up yet, but as soon as he notices that it is Suicide Wretched Hag, he's going to level up the Ice Imprisonment and just harass him like crazy, and then Hag's not going to get anything.
We see right there, though, right off the bat, this is a 2 versus 1 mid, so as you said, Gauntlet should have a good time. So it really is an ultimate sacrifice. I mean, you know, with these current lane setups, Q Squad should win 2 out of the 3 lanes. They should win the middle lane, they should win the top lane. The bottom lane, obviously, Wretched Hag should not only struggle, but Magebane will get free farm 100%. In fact, you see right here, Franzi on that Glacius, just right off the bat, putting the Ice Imprisonment out, throwing him some auto attacks, and Wretched Hag is already dropping a bit in life. Now she does use one of her 6 trees that she picked up. Of course, that on the top of the Guardian Ring, having some decent armor early on here, going for the early Ring of Teacher. But again, Franzi, he knows what he's doing. He's going to continue to go back in right here. And again, you see Wretched Hag just dropping quickly, forced to blink away, use that mana, and once again eat some more trees. So yeah, very, very difficult down there. And again, 100% free farm for this Magebane. By the way, I want to hear the sounds. I haven't actually heard that yet. Go down here. Oh, it's hard to hear. Maybe it's better from a first-person point of view. But anyways, having some fun there. So, but yeah, the middle lane though. I mean, Ziff on Gauntlet, he should have a very good time. And then, of course, as you mentioned, Silhouette should really dominate a Bubbles in a matchup up here, 1 versus 1. Bubbles being played by Moonmeander, granted a great Bubbles player as he showed in his last performance after his training session. But Horspell on Silhouette, it seems like has a level advantage early on, and already 4-3 compared to 2-2 Bubbles. So Bubbles getting in there, but lane is getting pushed up actually quite a bit too. Despite there is no ward up here, so I'd like to think that maybe they can get some positioning back in the lane as a result of that. But yeah, so far though, just pretty static farming in the lanes here early on.
Yeah, actually, Bubbles really manned up here in the top lane. Could be a little bit of trouble. That was a very interesting move there by Moonmeander. He actually almost died. Very, very questionable there. And some roaming coming out from Aluna. She has some images here. Maybe going to do some diving here. Bubbles does not have a health potion, so he's going to have to slowly regen that life with those Tree Eaters. We might see a dive here. It's going to be close. It's going to be have to be well calculated.
Yeah, was he going to be able to show Surf away in time? There it goes into the tree, so he's going to be fine with that. You see Aluna, that is the illusion, though. So yeah, good attempt right there from SQY and Aluna, but unfortunately Bubbles was just a little bit quick to react and nothing too much coming out of it. But again, Silhouette is continuing to farm herself very well at the top side. So Gauntlet though in the middle lane. Glacius going to the middle lane, puts a freeze out after the Fade, puts his combo out. Gauntlet not going to drop right here, but he does lose actually a bit of life. So good job, good counter harassment coming out from Complexity, obviously realizing Aluna's gone. And Magebane here at the bottom lane with Glacius missing. Obviously he got off to a great start, so Glacius feeling it necessary that he could roam around a little bit and set up some harassment elsewhere.
Yeah, and also in the meantime, I mean, you got to look at now the 2 junglers, Warbeast and Keeper. And I think when Warbeast has an unhindered jungle, he just farms so well. Now, I have not been looking at his jungle spawns. I don't know if they've been favorable. That really depends on how Warbeast jungles goes. If you have a bunch of Catmen and Minotaurs, it's going to be awful. Actually, right now he does get a Ministar pack, but before I didn't see. If he gets skeletons, it's just like awesome. It's perfect. But yeah, either way, Warbeast is going to get a great jungle. Same thing with Keeper. Keeper always has a good jungle. It's just a matter of who can be active when they hit level 6, because they both can. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. But I really just favor what's going on now for Complexity. It's just, like, again, it's this cookie-cutter strategy. They always have this, and it works out for them. But I just don't understand why not go Aluna Gauntlet against Magebane. Warbeast cannot help them. He can't. I mean, actually, he maybe can, but it's not that effective.
It's not like an Ophelia or a Parasite.
Yeah.
It's definitely not on that level. But yeah, I mean, technically, yes, he can't help. But
it's more of Warbeast is ganking us. Oh, let's just walk away.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's right-clicking us. Oh no. Yeah, it's really not the biggest deal in the world.
Just died!
Oh my God! How does that happen? That's not going to credit as a bloodlust kill, of course, but. Now, I wasn't watching it, and, you know, that's probably Tamale's. He's a good guy, I know. I didn't want to embarrass him. But, yeah, no, that's really unfortunate. He did double stack and then pull this here for Silhouette initially, though, so that is going to help Silhouette at least as far as gaining back the lane controls I was talking about. But, Yeah, Keeper of the Force dying right there. Now, how big of a deal is that he just died in neutral creeps right there?
I mean, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I mean, if he spent all his items, it'd be actually almost perfect because that's actually sometimes what you should do.
You know, maybe he didn't. Maybe
Well, he had lots of gold.
Okay, did
he? And I don't think he really necessarily lost all that gold, so it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Yeah.
But it does slow things down.
Yeah. It's also an embarrassing moment, like I said, but hey, you know, he'll get over, and I'm sure he'll just do fine. But Gauntlet here in the middle lane, we see Warbeast coming in with the level 6 after the combo. He grapples Fade away with him, though, and he will end up falling. So there's a Bloodlust kill officially coming out. SQY also in a lot of trouble. The dive's going to happen, and Fade will end up picking up the kill right there. So great coordination coming out from Complexity. And who said Warbeast can't gank, especially with that ultimate form? Actually, that's where he can start being more aggressive. And sure enough, Chessie right off the bat picks up. He didn't pick up the Bloodlust kill himself, but he got the 2 assists as a result of that help there in the middle lane.
Yep, I mean, he basically did exactly what you have to do as Warbeast. You hit level 6, you press R in your ultimate, you have great stuns and snares to follow up, or I should say, to start the gank off with Glacius and Fade. So they started off with the stuns, you just ulti in and just right-click, and it does massive amounts of damage. He actually has chosen to go boots first, before finishing that Abyssal Skull. I think that's simply just to catch up, like walk as quickly as he can back to the jungle. He isn't TP bottom. His ultimate. Also, the other thing about Warbeast is that cooldown on ultimate is very, very short. It's only 80 seconds level 1, and then it gets progressively lower from there. 40 seconds at level 3, which is very, very short considering it lasts for I think 16 seconds.
Yeah.
So you cut 16 seconds off that cooldown. That's what it really is. But yeah, good job by him. He was able to gank before the Keeper of the Forest. Bubble's actually in a lot of trouble up top. And he one more auto attack, he does take cover it. And
he's
actually,
gonna go.
Silhouette's gonna go. No.
No.
He
big
wanted
stuttering. To. Yeah, he took a lot of tower damage there, being indecisive. Wretched Egg in the meanwhile at the bottom lane, a lot of trouble. In comes Warbeast. The mana's completely drained, and down goes Wretched Hag. So obviously that's a big power of Mage Bane, draining all that mana, preventing Slave from porting away right there. And man, Chessie, again, being so active here early on. He's already been involved in all three of the kills now, for that matter. Having 1 kill as we got right there. Then, of course, the 2 assists. I believe he's going to be finishing his Abyssal Skull very shortly, too, on top of his boots. And some good tower pushing coming at the bottom lane. So, Complexity, yet again, off to a great start. Mage Bane looking good. Now, top tower will go down in favor of the Hellboy team, but Wretched Egg blinks in. Oh, she's going to try to blink away. Not going to be enough, though. Mage Bane ports on top of her and gets that kill. You got to wonder what Wretched Egg was thinking right there with no support to come. Just porting in, acting like she was going to be fine. Not the smartest move.
Yeah, not the smartest move at all. They're continuing to counter push the top lane here, but Fade is ready. He goes on the Silhouette. Great stun, gets 2. Bubbles comes in as well to combo. And actually, Keeper of the Forest is in a little bit of trouble. I think he's out of tower range now with the Invis. But and actually, the bottom lane, I did miss it because action happening in both lanes, is Franzi dies now to Ziff playing that gauntlet. So I'm guessing that ultimate was used and able to combo that lowly Glacius down. But yeah, it just seems like it's the same thing every single game with Complexity, and I don't understand the thinking behind it. Like the lanes are so obvious. It's like, hey, let's give Mage Bane a free farm as well. On top of it, hey, why not? Let's give Warbeast a free farm as well.
Yeah.
And Chessie does a good job to be able to gank with that level 6 ultimate as soon as he hits level 6. I mean, it was pretty much seconds right after he hit level 6. He's like, all right, I'm 6. Let's go gank. And that's exactly what you have to do as Warbeast. And so Complexity in a great spot. It's going to be really, really hard for them to throw this game in my opinion. Now, it's very early on. They're only up 2K and both experiencing gold, but, I mean, they got everything working for them.
I mean, I know Silhouette died, but it seems like her farm, too, hasn't been the greatest. I mean, I guess in Creep Farm, she is actually up there with Mage Bane. It's about 5 difference, which, you could definitely argue is pretty significant early on in this game here. But, having that death obviously slowing her down. But, I mean, her goal per minute, it's solid 272, but then you do compare it to that Mage Bane, to that Warbeast even, who are up to 365 and 379 now, as a result of where things are going in this game. Ziff here in the middle lane on Gauntlet. He has been doing a fairly solid job. He's got 323 gold per minute. He does go Ghost Marchers first and actually picks up a major totem. So I wonder if that's going to turn into an actual tablet of command here for Gauntlet, which would be an interesting pickup to say the least, as his first item of choice. But middle lane gank coming in here from the Hellborn team. Whether it's a gank or just an all-out push, we'll see. Looks like it is going to be more of a push. Keeper of the Forest, of course, here. And the minions are spawned. They're taking out the Ballista and now going to push the tower. You see Chessie sending in the invisible Hellhounds. Going to actually snipe the Ballista in the background right there and then fall back. So it gets a little bit of farm, also stops the push. Meanwhile, at the top lane, Bubbles and Fade once again doing work as they take a Horse Spell, playing that Silhouette. So the middle tower will fall in favor of QsQ, but again, Silhouette dying her second time of the game now.
Yeah, and they're able to spread out and do counter pushing at the same time. I mean, Magebane's here in the bottom lane doing what he needs to do. That's exactly what they need to do. If they understand and realize that they cannot defend the push, is find something else to do. And they did. They got an easy kill on Horse Spell. At the same time, Magebane's getting complete free farm down in the bottom lane.
Yeah. So that's, just looking down there, I mean, you see the pressure he's applying to the tower, already dropping to about half-life. Meanwhile, back in the middle lane, we do have some possible initiation taking place. Back, Bobbles, ports, and Kelp are going to come out. There's the Roofer Keeper of the Force. Now a quick death on a Wretched Hag to start things off. Gauntlet now in a little bit of trouble. He's trying to get away. Not going to happen, though. The coL coming out from Fade on top of the Burning Shadows, and Bubbles auto attacks gets the kill. Silhouette, though, joining the party. Not going to play too aggressive, though, as she'll play back. As Luna trying to survive in the background, but Magebane and Glacius able to finish her off. So the kills just keep adding up. Now Horse Spell's going to get caught out right here as the Burning Shadow stun hits. Magebane doing some auto attacks, avoids the tree grapple, and there's the Mana Rift to finish off Silhouette. Haxman picks up a double tap, and he wants more kills, damn it. He may get more kills as a result of the mana drain, but no, he's not going to chase down Keeper. Not worth the chase. Instead, going to go back to farm. So, man, QsQ, it seems like they just got disoriented right there as far as their teamwork goes, and Complexity just completely capitalized.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, this really always goes back to the, well, drafting one. I think the draft from QsQ is actually okay. Again, I questioned the early Keeper of the fourth pickup, and Hag just gets demolished right there. So squishy. A lot of mana burn coming out onto Gauntlet, and that's the beauty of Magebane right there in this early game, is the mana burn just really is so effective. One of the things that I did want to say is that it is actually a little bit smart. I questioned it at first. But I still think that QsQ it would have been completely remedied by the change of their lanes. But they picked Magebane knowing that they could easily just first pick Fade out of that log pool.
Yeah.
And knowing that they didn't have to deal with that counter to Magebane that a Fade is. Now, I really can't say it enough, though. I don't understand why they don't just lane against him. It would make things so much easier. Hag would have a good lane. You would have a very aggressive lane against this Glacius Magebane with Gauntlet Aluna. I mean, Aluna is the best laning support. She does burst damage, she has long range, she has a stun. It's very, very strong. So I would give that lane to them. Warbeast cannot gank till he's level 6. Again, I've said maybe he can sometimes if they're playing really far up and he can do some damage to the wolves. I've seen it happen, yes, but it's not ideal. So, yeah, I just don't understand.
Yeah, well, now QsQ does find themselves in a tough position. You can argue maybe partially because of that at least. But 5,000 gold disadvantage down 7,600 experience. We're now only 12.5 minutes in here. Horse Spell just doing his best to keep up there as far as gold per minute is concerned. He's back up to 270 gold per minute. But again, you keep looking at that Magebane and that Warbeast, both sitting around that 400 GPM mark. We're going to have some tower exchanging going on here. It's going to be 1 for 2, though. It looks like at least. There goes the bottom tower. Now the middle tower is going to be ported on by QsQ, and so they're going to be able to react to this and at least hopefully deny it. At least that's what they're going to go for. And yes, they will be able to deny it, but at the top lane, Bubbles also doing some push. Silhouette will port up there, though. Meanwhile, Warbeast being played by Chesley, he's going to be able to ulti form and run away before he gets in too much danger. And then at the bottom lane, actually, Slate decided to stick around in Wretched Hag, and that proved to be the wrong decision as both Fade and Magebane come in and complete the kill on her yet again. She's got to have, 5 deaths. Wretched Hag is 0-5-0 to start off this game, only 147 gold per minute. She cannot get anything going. She's just getting completely locked down this game so far.
Yep, I mean, that part of it is expected. The other part is just trying to stay in the lane too long or staying too far up and getting farmed when you really shouldn't be. It's just unfortunate. I mean, Hag, literally, granted, 1 kill has happened on the Hellborn side, but hasn't been involved in anything, really. So it's unfortunate. I mean, they have really no way to bounce back into this game. They do have a hard carry in Silhouette, which is good and fine and all, but, Haxorn on Magebane is farming 425 gold per minute.
Yeah.
And they have a Fade that can just roam around. When Fade hits level 11, things are only going to get worse. I mean, Fade's going to have that ulti for a long, the duration's going to be much longer. It's 15 seconds longer, 35 seconds. And it's going to, open the map up so well for the Legion side, if it isn't already opened up well.
God, here it is, this Rune Cleaver here. Yeah, that's just ridiculous for Magebane. Basically, about a 14-minute Rune Cleaver, really, on top of Steam Boots. So Haxorn just doing his thing yet again here for Complexity. Going to clean up some double stacks. And speaking of that, this also goes back to Franzi, just constantly stacking the jungle. And I like what Chessie's doing too. He is actually farming the jungle quite a bit with just his hounds, while he's actually off, was actually doing some regen at the time. But again, it just goes to show you the heads up and those small things that really do add up, as far as just farming while you're regenerating, with your minions. So. Massive push coming up here by QsQ3, so it's almost a little bit of sense of desperation coming out. As also on top, they do have a pretty solid pushing team, especially with the Keeper of the Forest, so might as well take advantage while you have them. But Complexity doing a response with counter pushing the bottom lane, as you see right there by MageBane, and Chessie pushing the middle lane in the meantime. So decision time to be made here, really for both teams, as QsQ3 is going to keep this going. Now, Gauntlet has finished that Tablet of Command, which, again, I still find a little bit interesting. But they're going to try to pressure the base tower here. Again, MageBane and Warbeast are not here just yet. So this is definitely a solid decision from QsQ3. But they do need to be careful not to overstay their welcome. But look at this middle tower. It is just going down so quickly. Between MageBane and Warbeast, it's just going to drop right there. We see a port coming in, but it's canceled, actually. But here we go. Kelfield coming in for Bubbles. The ports from MageBane and Warbeast going to start coming back in. Power Throw goes off, but down goes Selena. Bat Blast only hitting Glacius right there. Not the greatest positioning. Keeper of the Forest still has this root. Is going to use it. Fade trying to get away. There comes a root finally coming out. Fade will fall, but Gauntlet and Keeper of the Forest are going to drop. Wretched Hag just going to try to port out, which it looks like she's going to be successful with. But wow, the damage definitely done there by Complexity. Not only another tower kill, but they clean up in the fight.
I mean, there's really nothing to. I can't. Again, I'm going to fish for things to say more than I've already said, and that's just the laning phase just kind of snowballed Complexity into what's happening right now. And it's very easy to see, I feel like, with the way that Complexity drafts. And I mean, I'm not knocking them by any means. I think the way they draft is perfect. One thing I will say is that they do seem to run the same thing pretty much, like, very, very often. And not same thing, but just the same formula. And that's a hard carry plus hard support bottom with a jungler. And no one contests that lane. It seems every game we watch, no one contests that lane. And I don't know why. Especially when you have a jungler like Warbeast. Now, when they have a jungler like Tempest and especially Ophelia, I get that. You can't go against that lane. Yeah. Believe me, it's almost impossible. But against a Warbeast, no, you should be. That should scream, let's be aggressive in that lane. So I just don't understand. But hopefully they'll realize that in the next game, because I really do think this game is over. I mean, it's sad to say that I call this early, but it really is. I mean, MageBane, his farm is not going to slow down by any means. It's just going to keep getting worse and worse.
And we also have a Shrunken and a Warbeast now. That's a very powerful go-to item on him, of course, early on in the game. If he can manage to get that. He is also level 11 on top of that, so you talked about that cooldown being reduced. Now it's down to 60 seconds, still lasting the 16 seconds. So, really, when you think of it that way, really only 44 seconds that he'll have to wait before he can activate it again at this point, at least. So, yeah, it is very, very strong here for Complexity. I mean, QsQ3, they do got Silhouette. She has been going up and up, now 350 gold per minute. And, usually that may be considered pretty good, and what's now only coming up to the 18-minute mark, honestly. That isn't bad farm by any means, but you just have to look at the overall picture, and obviously that's where it tells you the story of, well, Complexity, they're just very, very strong right now. And it almost makes you wonder if teams are giving Complexity too much respect in that sense of, you know what, we respect Haxorin and that dual lane, that safe lane bottom where they just want to free farm so much that instead of just going up against it, we just want to do our own thing and try to compete. Keeper of the Forest is going to get caught out here in the jungle, by the way. And obviously that started with Fade and Bubbles just there to follow up. Both of them who have a portal key now, by the way, on top of that. So just even more better items coming out here. But yeah, like I was saying though, that kind of makes you wonder if just all these teams they give them too much respect in that sense. Because you said a good word there. It's not only do teams not succeed against the tri lane, or not the tri lane, but that pseudo tri lane that Complexity likes to run in the safe lane, but they literally don't even try. We don't see it whenever we cast Complexity lately. We just have not even seen it even attempted. And you just like to almost at least see it attempted. And this was definitely a perfect game setup for that, as you're putting it, but. No, unfortunately, QsQ3, just like many other teams, fell under the same that same boat of we don't want to try to compete against it. We want to try to do our own thing and hope that we can just outplay it to an extent, but didn't work out. Wretched Hag is also going to get caught here at the bottom lane. In comes MageBane. Nice stop with the auto attacks. The mana burn not going to be enough with the mana rift at the last second down to 37 life, but MageBane using that power supply, able to barely survive. But it just goes to show you, I mean, the map control is total favor of the Legion team right now.
Oh, yeah, definitely. That was an invis rune. That wasn't even Fade's ultimate, so you could assume Fade will... Actually, Fade She kind of ran out of mana there, so she won't have an ultimate. At top lane, actually, War Beast is getting gone on, but look at him. He's just holding his own. He's actually going to turn it on the Gauntlet, who does still have an ulti. Yeah, he is going to use that, but I would imagine, yeah, he's still going to run, and he's going to do massive amounts of damage. The wonderful thing about that ultimate, too, from War Beast is you have no collision. So he's just going to walk right through people when he needs to. He's going to portal key out. Oh, sorry, not portal key, but TP out. The ultimate's coming out. He will die. Glacius here doing a glacial downpour. Fade's in the mix. He's doing a lot of damage. Gauntlet, one more attack. He dies, and actually Hag is now on the run. Fade does ultimate to get a little bit extra movement speed, but I think Hag has one more blink. Oh, no, she doesn't. She tries to go to the end boots and can't get it, and so she will go down. Yeah, I don't know why I said Chessie had portal key out. I mean, homecoming port
Orbeez portal key.
Actually, I've seen it.
Silhouette. Actually, Death Lotus nuke. Oh, she's not going to use it. She could have got bubbles right there, actually. I don't even think she realized. But she ends up also getting collapsed on. And, you know, that just goes back right there with what happened if just QsQ almost seeming a lot. Look at Magebane diving onto a Luna here in the base already. And a Luna is going to end up dropping most than likely. There we go. He just jumps all the way to the well by himself, basically. As that completes the genocide right there, and he's just going to farm up the creeps in the lane and then fall back. GG well-plays are being called. It looks like Q Squad is out now for this game. Not really conceding just yet. So, oh, they're waiting for the pause vote to fill. I guess that was an accident right there. But there we go. They meant to concede, not pause. Yeah, it was just way too overwhelming to handle right there for QsQ357. They definitely gave it a solid shot, but. You know, I think you specifically have said it enough, really. It's just comes down to why not contend that lane at the bottom. They didn't. They tried to go for a farmed Gauntlet instead, which, again, when you looked at the lane setups, arguably they should have won the middle and the top lane, but there's a lot more than just simply static farming in the lane. There's movement that's going on. Chessie specifically, as soon as he hit level 6, he jumped to the middle lane, he set up the gank, set up a double tap for the team, and those are the first couple of kills to happen. So, yeah, it just Q Squad again. They give it a solid shot there, but Complexity, again, they're labeled as the #1 team out there for a reason.
Yeah, and again, Chessie did a really great job. He ganked as soon as he hit level 6. And it was very, very easy in that lane too. I mean, Fade's stun is one of the best stuns in the game. It really is. And you put on top of that the Glacius who has the freeze as well as the slow. He was able to get a very, very easy double tap very early on. But at the same time, when he was level 6 ganking, Tree was only level 4. And they should really be about even. I mean, they farm in the jungle about evenly. Maybe Warbeast a little bit faster if his spawns are favorable. Yeah. Again, I wasn't watching early on, but I'm going to guess that his spawns were favorable. I was watching him. He was microing his wolves perfectly with the Minotaurs. So you got to give him credit for that. But yeah, the really underlying factor here is that they did not lane against the Magebane when they could have. They didn't even need to try lane against it. It's not like there's a Magebane Glacius there. We need to try lane against that. Make sure it gets dominated. They can do that simply with the dual lane that they had, the Luna Gauntlet. Yeah. That should do just fine. You can get kills on that Glacius very, very easily. Setting up the stun with a Luna, it doesn't even have to be a bounce stun. It can just be a singles target stun, and then Gauntlet to set up with the grapple after that. And it would be very, very easy. They could do it all day, as Beaka would say, but they chose not to.
Yeah, the execution again just definitely wasn't there for Q Squad, unfortunately, and man, Complexity, they are just such a great team, though, and, they were the favorites going into this matchup, and after Game 1, you do got to wonder that much more, how much faith does Q Squad actually have now after just getting, not necessarily demolished in Game 1, but they didn't really have the greatest time there in Game number 1. So now the good thing here going for Q Squad is that worst comes to worst. If they happen to lose this out, of course they still are in the tournament. It is a double elimination event. So, but if you are them and you would like to think that they're not thinking that, they're thinking specifically on this series though, and just seeing what they can make happen as far as actually winning the game and winning the series. But it is going to be tough, no doubt. Complexity did look very good, not only that game, but they have looked good. And, B-Kid, despite waking up late, it seems like, or not even late, but was really early for him, and apparently not too happy. But, hey, he played well himself, as did the rest of the team. So, with that said, guys, we got Game 2 coming up around the corner. Sit tight. Once again, I'm Breaking CBK. Joining me is Tralph Mador. Game number 2, Complexity, taking on Q Squad 357. The DreamHack Summer Championships quarterfinals coming at you next.